back of the geek here before we get started. It's a different location. Don't think too much of it. It don't really matter, does it? Got a Christmas tree. The lights in this thing are now working again, so that's good, isn't it? Anyway, today is the seasonal Doctor Who series ranking. Yay! Bit of nostalgia. You guys always loved the modern Who ranking that I did last year, all ranking all the seasons, and obviously when series 11 and 12 came out, I ranked them. So today I'm going to be ranking Doctor Who series 13, aka Flux. In my opinion, the best Chibnall and Jodie season. So obviously we've got 6 episodes to rank, and I probably will do like an overview of the series at some point in the near future, because I think that's probably the best way to judge the series. And I wasn't sure if I'd be ranking the episodes, because obviously it's one long story. I wasn't sure if I could judge them on their own, but I feel like I can now, and that is what I'm going to do. And remember, this is just my opinion. It's subject to change, obviously. Please do not hold me accountable if my opinions have changed in like a year's time. They're bound to. I know it's the internet, but jog on. It don't matter if my opinions have changed in the next year or so. And obviously it's just my opinion. If yours is different, I love that. I want to see all your rankings because I love seeing rankings. It's just awesome. Let's just get on with it. Number 6, Survivors of the Flux. Now, this was the only episode of the series that I would consider close to being subpar or bad. Like, this is the only one that I didn't really enjoy. I didn't enjoy it a lot. One, there was a lot going on, and it wasn't very coherent, which I think is a problem that's plagued a few episodes of this season. And but some of those are more entertaining. This one, I just didn't enjoy. Like, there was so much going on, and what was actually going on, I just didn't enjoy. So it's not a substantial story, and I didn't enjoy, the stuff with the Doctor and Tetsuya with the division, like explaining what that was. It was just kind of just them talking, and I wasn't really engaged. The Yazdan and Jericho stuff, journeying, had a bit of missed potential, and there were some fun moments and there were some great moments with that stuff, but when you realise that all it was building up to was this joke with Carvanista that I can't do time travel, it does kind of on rewatch derail all that stuff. The stuff with Vinda and the Swarm I didn't particularly care for, but I did love the unit subplot with the Grand Serpent infiltrating unit over time, and the Kate Stewart return. I thought that was really good. I loved all that stuff, but that's not enough to prod up the episode for me. I didn't warm to this one, and on rewatch I think it's gotten worse. Number 5, the Halloween Apocalypse. So the series opener, and it was quite similar to Survivors of the Flux in the sense that there was so much going on, and as a story, it is not coherent and it's not substantial. But this episode was miles more entertaining. I think this kind of storytelling is what I'm going to coin vignette storytelling, where you have lots of different scenes, like sort of a variety of different scenes, sort of loosely linked together. And I think, that can be done well. And I enjoy doing that with sketches, that I do. That's kind of a style that I go for. And, even in like proper professional media, it works. There was an Inside Number 9 episode. They've done it, Inside Number 9, they've done it quite well in the past. And I think there are scenes in this episode which are very good. Dan is set up perfectly. I love him. I love the stuff with Carvanista. The Centaurons scene was really cool. The Weeping Angel stuff. Swarm and Azure were very menacing right off the bat. And I think that, it was still entertaining and quite cheesy. And it was quite fun. But there were other things in the episode, like the Joseph Williamson stuff, the Vinda stuff. And there were kind of remnants of like the series 11 and 12 problems, like the clunky dialogue and the humour with the Doctor I don't think really worked. But there were really remnants of that. And I think overall it was still entertaining, just not a substantial story. Number 4, Once Upon Time. Now this episode I think a lot of people weren't particularly keen on, and I seem to be in the minority who thought it was really, really good. I really enjoyed this episode. It was weird, and on a first watch it was really hard to kind of process the episode and kind of take it all in, really. But after a second viewing, I will say that the weirdness is still there, but you can, at least for me, you could follow it better, and you could get a grasp of it better. And so if that was kind of your problem on first watch and you haven't rewatched it, then definitely do give it another go, and you may understand it better. Obviously, it was a very weird, trippy, all over the place episode, but even on first viewing, I admired the creativity of it, and I loved how they go into the characters' different time streams and whatnot to save them from it, but it was used to kind of explore them as characters. You got to see their memories. We saw like a Division flashback with the Doctor. We got to see Joe Martin's Doctor again, which was great, and how like Yaz, Dan, and Vinda were used to represent, the Division operatives. It was a great thing, and like the Doctor appears as a police officer with Yaz, or how Yaz appears as one of Vinda's colleagues on his home world. It was quite weird and trippy, but I really liked it, and it really, I liked how it used to explore the characters, particularly Vinda, who, up until this point, I didn't really care about, but in this episode, I really liked him afterwards. It made me want to know more about the Division, which, was completely the opposite to Series 12, when, it got brought up in the Timeless Children. I completely forgot about the Division, but this episode, it made me engaged. I was interested in it, and that's good. And also the Weeping Angel scenes, for what little that we got, was a really great appetizer for the following episode. Number 3, The Vanquishers, the finale of the series, and the one that has been the most divisive, and it's been very divisive. And look, this is, it can be subject to change, obviously. Don't hold me accountable in like a year's time if I don't like it in a year's time. Don't hold me to account, right? It's just my opinion right here, right now. And overall, it was not perfect. There were a few things, mainly Swarm and Azure, that were not resolved well, and there were a couple of other problems I had with it. There were a couple of times where it's too easy for the characters. The editing was quite odd, and there were a few problems with it. But one, it was entertaining, and I enjoyed myself with the episode. Even if it was total garbage, I still entertaining. But also I think overall, I think the majority of it was solved pretty well. I think the way that they actually got rid of the Flux with the passenger form, I think that was done well. I think, the characters, their resolutions were good. Especially Jericho. Like, I loved him. He's probably was actually my favourite side character, Jericho was. And his death was... I was absolutely gutted to see him go. I'm also okay with the Doctor not getting her memories back. I think, one, it's in character for her not to, want to open the fob watch. But also, I think it's better alluded to, in my opinion. I think then you can kind of use your own imagination to imagine the kind of atrocities that would have happened, maybe, and the tragic events and the horrible things that would have happened when the Doctor was part of the Division, and all of this, dark secrets and whatnot. I think it's better alluded to him, in my opinion at least. I was thinking this on centaurons, they were done really well. And there were times when maybe it was veering a little too much into the comedy, but then it was made up for with their villainy, in my opinion. Overall, as one of my commenters said, this episode is fun but flawed, and I agree with that. Number 2, War of the Centaurons. Now this one was fab, and it's probably the best episode Chibnall has written by himself. Having Jodie separated from the companions gave her the time to flourish, and this is probably her best portrayal as the Doctor. I think she was pitch perfect in this, confronting the Centaurons. She felt truly like the Doctor, but, and her own Doctor as well, and I thought she was brilliant. The Centaurons, they were depicted perfectly. There was good bits of comedy that were funny and in keeping with them, because they are an inherently silly monster, but there were some really dark, chilling moments with them, I'm not going to lie. The Crimean War historical stuff with Mary Seacole, I loved that. The stuff with Dan in modern day Liverpool, infiltrating the Centaurons, I really enjoyed that. The stuff with Yaz and Vinda was probably the weak part of the episode at the Atropos Temple. Was it Atropos? I think. And, with Swarm and Azure. But it was still really good stuff, and just overall, just so much fun. And it's probably the most rewatchable episode of the season, in my opinion. Number 1, Village of the Angels. The closest that the Chibnall era has come to perfection in my eyes. The Doctor, obviously, fab. The production design and the atmosphere and the sets were all spot on. Jericho and Claire are fantastic, and Jericho is my favourite side character in Series 13, and Claire was also really likeable, and I like how her story, scene from Halloween Apocalypse, gets paid off well here. The Weeping Angels are top notch, and it adds new spins to old mythology, but also expands on it in ways that I think work, and I just think they were creepy, unsettling, and I just think they were pitch perfect. I thought the expansions to the Flux story arc, with Belle and Azure and all the people being taken away. And I just love seeing Blake Harrison in the episode, even if it was for a little bit. I like that. The cliffhanger with the Doctor becoming an angel and the whole division thing in the angel. I loved all that stuff. And the cliffhanger was just shocking but brilliant. And this episode was just... It was fantastic. And it was the best that the Chibnall era has given us. And I'm just... It's so close to a 10 out of 10. So, good on you, Chibnall.